Hi, 7th grade. Welcome to your first video of your first lesson in math with me, Miss Justinger. And let's get to it. Please turn to the page that looks like this. It says example 1. This is in lesson 1-1. We are going to combine opposite quantities to make 0. Opposite meaning one is positive and one is negative, but they are the same number. It says, Alexis was shopping on the ground floor of a mall when she realized she had left her phone in her car. She walks down 6 floors to her car in the underground parking garage. How far will Alexis walk to get back to the ground floor? Use numbers to explain. So she's starting here at the ground floor. She's going to go down 6 floors to go back to her car, and then she's going to come back up 6 floors to continue her shopping. So it says use integers and a number line to represent the situation. The integer 0 represents the location of the ground floor. The absolute value of -6 represents the distance in floors Alexis walks down to her car. -6 represents her position after she walks to her car. So we say absolute value because it is how far she walks. She walks a total of 6 flights, but we're going to use negative to denote that she is going down. The absolute value of +6 represents the distance in floors Alexis will walk up to the ground floor. So again, she's still walking 6 flights, but this time it's positive because she's going back up. -6 and 6 are opposites. Opposite quantities combine to make 0. So if we did -6 plus 6, we would know that equals 0. Alexis will walk the same distance in floors in the opposite direction to get back to the ground floor. Let's try one. Xavier climbs 9 feet up into an apple tree. What integer represents the direction and how far he will climb to get back down to the ground? What does the integer 0 represent in this situation? So I want you guys to try this on your own. If you are in class, Miss Justinger or Miss Becky will pause the video. If you are at home alone, please pause it yourself and press play when you are done. Okay, so to go over this, I like to draw a picture. So I've got my tree. Beautiful tree, okay? Xavier climbs up 9 feet. So he's going to go up 9 into the apple tree. So in order to get back down to where he started, well, what goes up must come down, so he's going to come down the same amount, but we're going to denote it with a negative because that means he went down. So the integer -9 represents Xavier's climb down. The integer 0 is where we started. That is the ground. How are the absolute values of opposite integers related? So the absolute value of -9 is equal to 9. But in the same way, the absolute value of 9 is also equal to 9. So the absolute value of opposite numbers are the same. So we can say they are equal, which is why they cancel out, right? -9 plus 9 equals 0. You go down 9, you go up 9, you're back to where you started. You go up 9, you go down 9, back to where you started. On the next page, example 2. Combining opposite quantities. Samuel has $20 in his savings account, so he has 20. Before he makes a deposit of $160. If you make a deposit, that means you are adding money. So a deposit of $160 is adding $160. After 2 weeks, he withdraws $160. So that means he takes it away. So this is adding $160. So add 160. That's a deposit. A withdrawal is subtracting 160. How did Samuel's savings account balance change? So here they drew it on a number line for you. We started at 20. We increased by 160 to go here. And then we decreased by 160 and we ended back up where we started. The amounts deposited and withdrawn are opposite quantities and combined to make 0. Samuel's account balance did not change because the amounts deposited and withdrawal combined to make 0. So he added 160, subtracted 160, he's still at $20. Let's try it. The temperature was 75 degrees. At noon, it increased by 7. So increased means to add 7. By evening, it decreased by 7. So that means to subtract 7. How did the temperature change? Well, if we do 75 plus 7, that's going to give us 80, do it in a different color, 82. But after it got to that 82, it subtracted 7. 82 minus 7 gets us right back to 75. Another way to do that is to notice that we've got a positive 7 and a negative 7. Those are what? Opposites. Opposites combine to make 0, so you know you should end back at the original temperature. Last example for this lesson. Represent change using integers. Now, integers, in case you didn't know, integers are numbers that are not decimals. So numbers that are not decimals. So it says, one winter morning, the temperature was negative 2 degrees Celsius. By 11 a.m., the temperature had decreased by 3. So I'm going to denote this, decreased by 3. I know that's negative 3. Also, I'm going to highlight the fact that it was 2 degrees Celsius when we started. At 4 p.m., the temperature reached 0 degrees Celsius. What integer represents the temperature change between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m.? So again, we're at a number line. We know we are starting at negative 2, right here. We decrease 3 and end at negative 5. Then we know it goes back to 0, but we don't know what happens between those two things. But I can see on the number line, in order to go from negative 5 to 0, we have to increase by 5. So we move 5 units to the right to show the temperature increase to 0 degrees. So the integer 5 represents the temperature change from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Try it. I want you to try this on your own. So pause the video and check back for me to review it. Shaniqua has $45 in her wallet. So she starts with $45. She spends $4 on snacks. So if she spends the money, she no longer has it. It is a subtraction. And she spends $8 on the movie ticket. So again, she's subtracting that money from what she has. What integer represents the change in the amount of money in Shaniqua's wallet, and how much money does she have left? Well, the change happens when she subtracts 4 and then subtracts 8. So if we were thinking about a number line going back 4 and back 8 more, the answer is going to be what? Positive or negative? Negative. You're going back 4 and back 8 more. So going back a total of 4 plus 8 is going to be going back 12. So this represents the total change. Now, in order to find how much money she has left, is we take the original amount of money, 45, and then we subtract the change. 45, she spends 12, ends her with $33 left.